was, I run my own real estate business in the US. What we're doing is that we're encouraging Gambians to get into home ownership. So in the next 5-10 years, Gambians are going to be sitting on a lot of cash, looking to come in here and invest in real estate and doing a lot of things. So the government need to look at us. Government officials need to look at us as partners and not as a threat. Diaspora is not a threat to your jobs. We're partners. We want to come back to this country. We have no other place. Calling for accountability. And he unfriended me right away. You know, I did not give up. I inboxed him on Facebook and I said, hey, why are you running away? We're just engaging. Guess what? That conversation ended up him inviting me to his office. And he said, we have the records. We have the accountability mechanism. Come in and then we will show it to you. So don't be afraid of your fellow citizens. We love this country equally like you. We want to invest in this country. We own homes. We own businesses. So I would encourage the new directorate not to say, okay, the Minister of Foreign Affairs or the Minister of Tourism is going to need to do their own part. You are now an entity. You go out and engage. And what I would suggest to the diaspora, let's form a subcommittee here. Dr. Sen and others are all here. And let them engage and complement what Mr. Professor Fall and others are doing. And let's move this country forward. Look at this room here from top to bottom. Incredible talent. All of you. Incredible talent, incredible skills in this room. And yet, you go outside here, you just hold your head. And what I say is that everybody is complaining and nobody is doing much about it. And it's nothing personal. It's just we need to move to the next level of implementing, as everybody else was saying. Technology. We have software engineers that can literally digitize this country. They can come back to this country and digitize this country. But no, listen, I'm going to go back to the diaspora again. The remittances. We have a bigger tourist, our own tourist, than the tourist industry. Local tourists. We should be having local tourist packages in this country that would encourage our people to come in all year round. We rely on foreign aid. There is not a better foreign aid than what the diaspora is bringing in this country. We just need to harness it. We just need to harness it, and we should not wait to be invited. I always say this, I'm a Gambian and I'm not going to wait to be invited. I'm going to step up and do what I can do, and nobody can alienate me. And that's the mentality that we should all have. When you go out here, find out who are you supposed to contact to invest. Do not give up. Do not give up. This is our generation to build this country. We fail to build this country, we would have nobody to blame but ourselves, because we have the talent, we have the skills, and we have the will to do it. So I encourage everybody to please step up. Please step up and let's do the best we can do for our country. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Demba Balda here. We need to step up, all of us. That's the message there. For the benefit of time, before the Drama Kundas beat me up, I will call on the the Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Directorate of the Gambia Diaspora Strategy to come and wrap up on the question being asked. After which we are going to have our lunch break right after that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I think the main question actually is from Honorable Jallo about migrating from words to actions and structures and infrastructures required to facilitate diaspora engagement. I think from last year, when I was deployed at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to now there has been a massive diaspora engagement. And I think that is long overdue. I'm one, I won't praise myself, but I'm one of action. Whoever knows me, from the Personnel Management Office to MOFA, I wouldn't say what I wouldn't do. And I thank God, my minister listens to me, my permanent secretaries listen to me. I feel there's a lot of opportunity we have. And I have a very committed and dedicated team. They are energetic. I'm sure by the time we meet here next year, we would have registered a lot of things. But it all has to start with this strategy. And this is why we want to ensure we put all our best in this strategy. And again, the diasporan community, with the help of Prof, will also be involved. We want to get their input also in this strategy. And the implementation will involve them also, together with all other government institutions. I remember this would be 2 months ago, there was this Nordic Investment Forum where I participated. And there was a lady in Sweden who has a big farm in NBR, but she lacked caterpillars and other machines to help the field. She asked, whom does she contact? There was a representative from the Ministry of Agriculture. But immediately I took responsibility because we launched a diaspora website in October, purposely for diaspora engagement. So I promised that in 2 weeks, I would engage the Director General of Department of Agriculture, and you would see the contacts and emails of every regional director of agriculture that you can contact anywhere, and it is in the website right now. So we are committed, and we will ensure we migrate from words to actions. And I've always been saying this. Who says civil servants should not tell the truth? Who says as a civil servant you should deceive? I don't believe that. And I believe in sincerity. And my approach towards diaspora engagement is very open, is sincere, and I think they are there is an untapped potential that requires to be tapped. And for this to happen, someone has to sacrifice. Someone has to sacrifice. What I mean by that, yes, I'm receiving my salary, but I need to do the extra. How passionate we are about taking care of our families is similar we should be when we are occupying government positions. It is a responsibility, it is a trust, and we'll be accounted for it, whether this world or in the hereafter. So I have that perception, and that is my motivation. Whether anybody sees me or not, I must do what I should do. So I promise you, we'll migrate from words to actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, BTS. That's great. We will move from word to action. We will wrap up with that, and you will go and have your lunch now. It's the same place where you had your breakfast this morning. I think it will be between just 1 hour, and we'll be back again for the next session. Thank you.
May I just remind you that we have the
Because there was a time when we traveled, we went to the IPU in the parliamentary, and we were in a haste to come and vote. So I told my colleague, what about, look at us, we are in a haste to come and vote, and our people are here not being able to come and vote, and we are discussing about it. So I think slow but sure. Let's keep up the momentum and then continue what we are doing, because gone are those days when diasporas were hearing so many bad words from the government. But I think now it is changing, though we need an improvement. There is a big group improvement. So that being the case, as a National Assembly, when we come up with this marketing strategy brought by the Minister of Finance, I stand on the motion, and I said that we really need to implement this. Because if you look at what the Gambian, what we are fond of, is to come up with treaties. We come up with so many treaties, enact them, and put them in our cells to gather dust. So where is that taking us to? I think we really need to do something. The other thing is the diaspora. You know that there are persons with disabilities, Gambian, in the diaspora. But in the strategy, I'm not seeing anything that you said about persons with disabilities. And people like Baba Sila, I think Baba Sila has a disability, and he is in no way. So I think your programs and your implementations, you involve them. Because if you look at the persons with disabilities, it's not only one type of disability that occurs in this world. So I think that is what the Gambians fail to realize. Because if you look at it, disability is a cross-cutting thing. You have the persons with visual impairment, persons with physically challenged. If you go to Europe, you see some people with mentally challenged, and mentally challenged also is part of disabilities. So, and many other things, other types of disabilities. Sometimes I want to make people laugh and say, if you are too short, you have a disability. And if you are tall also, you also have a disability. And if you happen to miss the bus, why? Because you forgot something at home. That also is part of disability. Well, what can you do about it? And disability is nothing but if you cannot do something. And if you look at it, you cannot be in a house. A disability is in one form or the other. You either have disability in one way or the other. So I think it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who doesn't have any disabilities. So I think the diaspora also should cater for persons with disabilities. And what I am telling the Gambians is that seat that I am occupying, even if I am not there, it should not go for anybody but persons with disabilities. It should go for persons with disabilities because the Gambians have already started it, and it is a good legacy. Even if I'm not going to be there as a nominated member of the National Assembly, let somebody else have a disability to occupy that seat. And I hope everybody will help me to advocate for that. And in fact, we don't even need one. We may have at least one or two persons with disability, but better late than never. We have one since 2016. I think it has to continue for these elections that is coming. If you look at it, diasporans also, they should have their seat. They should have their representation. Nothing for us without us. If there is nothing for us, you are sending your money, you are doing everything for the Gambia, and you are not represented. What is the essence? There is no essence. For me, I think in all the offices, everywhere you go, as we are supposed to have because I am advocating for a disability desk. This is how we are going to have a diaspora desk in all the ministries, agencies, everywhere, even PMO. We need a disability desk. Diaspora desk as well. Because if you look at it, many those diasporans that are employed, they cannot do everything for diaspora. We need a representation, specific, exclusive representation who you think will be able to cater for the issues and the needs of the diaspora. I always say sorry to you because if you go to Europe or if you are away, not a Gambian, home again, when shall I see my home? I always think about it. Nothing is like home. And you are there working, struggling for everything to make sure that people progress. You are doing things for, even if you are not investing, but you are investing. I mean, that is what I'm saying. Even if the diasporans are not investing, they are investing. Sometimes our children are going to school and you are leaving behind a poor family. And those poor families, their children have to go to school. What will you do? Especially those who you know that are in the rural areas. We always go to everywhere, and then people will say, pray for Ibrahim or pray for Aida, pray for Yusufa. They are outside and they are helping us. So these are the issues that we really have to put in place. Diasporans, let's come together and work for the betterment of this country. We need nothing but this country. And then the government. This government, I think we don't need to thank the government, but we need to thank the Gambians. Because it is the Gambians who voted. We need to thank the Gambians for changing since 2016. Because if you look at it now, diasporans are coming. As my moderator has stated. Diasporans are coming now. There was a time when we were at the RPS. We went to the National Assembly it was the state of the nation address. We went there to cover. But when the former president was telling the diasporans and what the former president was telling the embassy, everybody was sitting there. And if anybody laughs, he said, there is no need for you to laugh. And he was using everything that, do you think this president will say that? He will not. So that being the case, I will say, it's the Gambians who make changes. And we should try by all means to make more changes because this country belongs to us. We are not saying changes for us, but changes for better. We need a better Gambia. And a better Gambia is what we need. And unless and until we put our hands together, we will do it. And therefore, I am calling for everybody, being a Gambian here in this country or outside, or as diasporans or whatever, to come together and then we work. We should not give the government. In conclusion, Madam Moderator, I would like to stop here by saying that the moment we continue doing what we are supposed to do, we will get what we are supposed to get. But if you don't do what we're supposed to do, we will not get what we are supposed to get. As far as the foundation, the foundation of our country has been marginalized. And some of us have been object of pity and charity until now, that we are trying to do what we're supposed to do. I think we should try by all means to make sure that we have a better foundation for our generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you for all your work and your advocacy you've been doing for the diaspora, but also for I think it's very important. And we appreciate the fact that we have expectations like a person with disability. It's not enough. We need to build on that, increase it, and not decreasing. So I think everybody in this room will be supporting of this idea that for the next legislature, we look forward to having more people with disability in the parliament and in other elected bodies. Thank you very much. She will join us to record the message. I think that will be followed by the message from Fatou Jajaro. So I think we can.
Yeah, so if the control room can play the first video so that we can go on with that.
To all the presentations and start with questions and answers so that we can get time.
The one for Veronica Yai, please.
I bring you warm greetings from the board and the general lecture of the Gambian Diaspora Experts Initiative Incorporated, GDI. On behalf of the GDI board members, I extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to Professor Jibril Fao and the MSDG team for the invitation to participate in the 5th State of the Nation Forum. My name is Veronica Yai, an associate professor in the School of Nursing at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, in the United States. I'm co-founder of GDI. Along with Dr. Jared Jain, we founded GDI in April 2020, and our inaugural meeting was held virtually in August 2020. For my 5-minute presentation, I will provide important context on the establishment of GDI. The president-elect, Fatou Jajaro, who is one of the leaders overseeing the daily operations of GDI, will provide a synopsis of GDI's work and spotlight exemplars of our current activities in progress. To start off, when Dr. Jarajan and I founded GDI, our mission was to engage Gambians in the diaspora to fully participate in national development efforts, utilizing our collective intellectual capacity and resources. We created a database that would include all diasporas with the skills, expertise, networks, and importantly, the interest to contribute to the development of our country. We anticipated that a repository of Gambians and Friends of Gambians profiles would optimize the mapping and seamless access to Gambians in the diaspora to address strategic priorities as articulated in the National Development Plan of 2018 to 2021. Following the establishment of the database, we realized that we need funds to implement programs and projects. So we decided to incorporate GDI and register it as a nonprofit tax-exempt organization in the United States. Our plan is to register GDI in Gambia, Europe, and other relevant regions. An overarching goal to establishing our database was to provide a platform for opportunities to collaborate, form partnerships, and mentor across government, non-governmental agencies, and organizations, individuals, and other stakeholders. We also recognize that Gambians in the diaspora would be interested in mentoring activities and collaborating with each other. Other important overarching goals include developing structures and processes to institutionalize policies and procedures to guide program and project implementation, and also coordinating collaborations and partnerships in the Gambia to create jobs and address national development priorities. So in terms of process, when individuals who access the GDI platform to register, will provide basic demographic information, their name, preferred contact, expertise or interests, and qualifications. Registered members are also encouraged to upload their resume or curriculum vitae, which would maximize the expertise and skills matching process process when indicated. The matching process is currently conducted manually. We hope to digitalize the process utilizing algorithms following the completion of our website. We recognize that one of the biggest challenges in fostering national development is coordinating our efforts for synergy and organizing ourselves in strategic ways to be effective and impactful. GDI Inc. is poised to propagate such efforts of coordination and organization, hence our model and legal. Some of you may recall President Thomas Sankara's words decades ago, and I quote, "We can produce more than we need. Unfortunately, for lack of organization, we still need to beg for food aid." End quote. President Sankara's words resonate with GDI's position. We must remove the challenges that continue to hinder our efforts and get organized as Gambians. As a diaspora organization, GDI with partners in Gambia will fully engage and organize Gambians in the diaspora for impactful and sustainable changes to benefit all Gambians. We are profoundly grateful for the hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm of our board members. I look forward to the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For Atilo Katsu. Do we have the next? Sure. If the control room could kindly play the video for Fatou Jalo, please.
Good morning. I want to also echo Dr. Njai's sentiment of tremendous gratitude and appreciation to MSGD for sharing the platform with GDEI. My name is Fatou Jalo. I am the president-elect of GDEI. I am from Brikama and currently reside in Massachusetts with my husband and our 3 children. I am currently Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at New England Center for Children. NACC provides comprehensive services for children with autism through a day in residential program, partner classrooms in public school systems, consulting services, and autism software curriculum for teachers. I would first acknowledge the tremendous hard work and commitment of our GDI board members and the dedication of our general membership. GDI board members consist of officers, president, president-elect, treasurer, secretary. The directors represented key sectors in the Gambia and the founders. To facilitate the actualization of opportunities and address the major development gaps in the Gambia, we have identified priority areas. We're strategically aligned with ministerial sectors in the Gambia by forming GDI subcommittees. The subcommittees are led by committee directors and consist of 3 to 5 members. Among the subcommittee members, we identify representatives in the Gambia as liaisons. We anticipate that this committee structure would promote efficient, effective, and sustainable engagement to mitigate barriers and challenges and create opportunities. Our vision at GDI is to collectively pool our expertise. to assess the impact of the private health sector on the public health sector. Dr. Mendy, GDEI members can collaborate with MSDG as health advisors to the government and private sector on health policies and implementation. For the Energy, Infrastructure and Climate Science Subcommittee, the priorities for Dr. Marie Njai and her team is to engage by developing activities related to power, water, transportation infrastructure, and to support the wide use of alternative sources of energy. Dr. Marie Njai will collaborate with MSGD to facilitate training opportunities using GDEI's pool of expertise for young engineers in the private and public sector to inform on best practices for energy. According to Dr. Njai, we have a pool of experts that we can leverage to develop sound, actionable strategies for any area, which sets GDEI apart because
I'm not sure how long is the recording.
we want to go beyond the vision and implementing actionable projects by collaborating with all relevant entities in the diaspora on the ground in the Gambia. Dr. Jara Jai currently leads the Agriculture and Processing Subcommittee. She is in the process of searching for more committee leads. So if this is your area of interest, please reach out at Gambian Diaspora Experts at gmail.com. The priority for the Agriculture and Processing Subcommittee is to create poultry and vegetable production projects for youth and women using the latest technology. For vegetable production, she anticipates collaborating with MSDG to develop hands-on training for women related to soil, providing good seeds and marketing tools to sell goods. For poultry, the plan is to create project opportunities for college graduates by collaborating with leaders of livestock programs and MSDG. For GDEI, we currently have approximately 95 registered members. We have expanded our recruitment to include social media platforms, family organizations, and sending personalized individual invitations. The Membership and Public Relations Subcommittee is led by our Director, Unafao. Send an email to Gambian Diaspora Experts at gmail to register. Again, thank you for sharing this platform with us. And we are looking forward to many, many collaborations that would yield the most impact for all Gambians.
Thank you very much. It was a bit long because we gave 5-7 minutes of each, but I think it was very interesting. So I think beneficial to all of us. So we are running out of time, but we have one more presenter. Mr. President Bush, prepare from the International Organization for Migration. She will join us via for 1 month.
Good afternoon, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Kaniwa Tatara. I'm from the International Organization for Migration based in Banjul. So I've been asked to really talk about Ireland's global experience and also specifically when it comes to support to the government of Gambia with regard to facilitate tapping into the resources of the knowledge diaspora. And I'll try, in the interest of time, I'll try to gloss over some of the key points that I'll be mentioning. It's a great pleasure to be with you all today to talk about this interesting topic. I mean, in the interest of time, please allow me to respectfully observe all courtesies and protocols. My 3 points will be, I will briefly talk about our global experience and also maybe try to highlight some of the key lessons learned. And then I will finish by stating some recommendations for the way forward. In terms of Ireland's global experience, when it comes to tapping into the resources of the diaspora, I mean, enough has been said already. It was a very interesting reflection from the audience, but also from the panelists. Unfortunately, I was not able to hear the sound was off for the last two panelists, but I was able to hear the first two. It was a very interesting reflection from their end. Most of it is also in line with what I have to say, so I will make sure that I'm not going to repeat some of the things. But I mean, it's clear that's why we need to talk about the nexus between migration and development. It's clear that the role of the diaspora is immense, especially when it comes to the context in the Gambia, the significant contribution of the remittance, the 62.9% contribution to the GDP, and most importantly, the significant number of Gambians abroad and the contribution not only via remittance, but also through transfer of knowledge and skill transfer, which is the specific topic of our session. And I mean, as we know, brain drain is a big concern that needs to be addressed via brain drain initiatives. And in today's world, a country's competitiveness in the global economy, its productivity and economic growth depends on a workforce whose skills and knowledge are constantly upgraded. So it's very important to tap into these resources of our diasporas to make sure that we fill into this gap. So when we say by promoting role of diaspora to transferring human capital, the key main or viable options are basically three. So these are engaging diaspora as practitioners to fill the resource and knowledge gap. By these, we mean we ask diasporas to volunteer their time and expertise. So there are different experiences that IOM is operational on the ground in about 100 plus countries. We closely work with respective countries and we implement this kind of projects in close collaboration with governments. So we have implemented the qualified African program, Migration for Development in Africa, which used to be implemented in 11 African countries, and also other temporary return of qualified nationals with European countries. So I could go on and on about this, but time is not on our side. So there are lots of experiences all over the globe where we can tap in to make sure that we enhance the resource, the knowledge and resources of the Gambian diaspora. And when we say Gambian diaspora, we're not only talking about the Gambian diaspora, but also their friends, the friends of diasporas, friends of Gambian diasporas, because the resources that they have, the networks that they were able to establish when they're residing in the destination countries, the partnerships, the friendships that they were able to create is also another immense resource to be tapped. And then the second option is engaging diaspora as partners. So it has been said all over throughout the whole day. We diasporas should be considered as partners because sometimes they might have this feeling that they've been considered as a cash cows. They've been considered only for their remittances, but that's not the case. And it was very interesting to hear the interest from the Gambian the government. The interest, the commitment to engage them as partners. So that's very critical. That's and when it comes to knowledge transfers as well, it's very important to engage them as partners. by engaging them as partners is enabling them to support in collaborative research between diasporas and local actors, connecting communities across national borders through twinning arrangements like municipal twinnings between the destination and country of origins. These are some of the interesting initiatives that I am conducting and implementing with different diaspora members and leaders of scientific and technical networks. So it's either one of the three when we talk about promoting role of diasporas. And then maybe I'll go briefly on what are the lessons learned so far from our different global and, of course, local contexts when it comes to the Gambian diaspora as well. We've closely been working with the diaspora directorate under the Minister of Foreign Affairs in terms of strengthening the capacity of the directorate, conducting some mapping exercises, and also having to support the development of the website and the portal, which is very critical in terms of providing reliable information to the members of the diaspora, because that's a very critical thing. No matter what we do in the country of destination, it needs to be communicated. It needs to be provided to them from a reliable source, so that they can make an informed informed decision on how they would want to engage, be it in knowledge and skill transfer or investment or remittance. They need a reliable information. So this is really very important. So in terms of the lessons learned, one critical point is we need to adopt a demand-driven approach. This has been said, it's very critical that we design knowledge and skill transfer programs based on the demand on the ground, and also to make sure that when we map out the needs on the ground. I've heard the first speaker saying that indicating that Gambian government is investing a significant amount of resources to do resource mapping, and also it's important to do the mapping of the pool of potential participants at the destination countries as well, and to also make sure that the demands on the ground that we're mapping, or the demands that the gaps that we're trying to identify, they are in line with the government's national plans. Because I could say one example, for example, under the program that we have had in Afghanistan, there was a very interesting initiative where Afghan diasporas were going to Afghanistan to provide block teaching to university students. This was a specific class on anatomy class. But unfortunately, because as you know, anatomy is about surgery, doing often opening up the body to be able for the students to learn about organs. So it was unfortunately a taboo for Taliban. So it was not. There was a mismatch between that, even though that was a gap. But it hasn't captured the context on the ground, the culture, the tradition. So these are some of the little things that we think, but very critical to ensure impacts of knowledge and skill transfer programs. And it's very important to invest. I mean, there are lots of challenges, there are lots of lessons learned that I could cite, but in the interest of time, I would. So just maybe, yeah. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, please conclude with the key recommendations you mentioned earlier.
Okay, so I'll spread both of my key recommendations. My key recommendations would be there are key elements of the diaspora market for diaspora engagement, key roadmaps for diaspora engagement. One would be it's important to identify the goal, but it's very important for the government to identify the goals and capacities. What do we want to achieve at the end when we want to tap into the knowledge diaspora? And then we have the capacity in-house, we have the tools in place to ensure that we accomplish this process. So these were some of the points that I've raised. I think to be done for the diaspora, knowing our diaspora, profiling, conducting a serious comprehensive data collection through a migrant diaspora census, mapping the location of the diaspora, compiling events of diaspora skills and experiences. Mostly it has been mentioned that this is being done, but it needs to be done in a very streamlined approach in a very systematic, institutionalized approach, because a lot of things could be done, but unless it's put together in a streamlined approach, we won't be able to measure the impacts. Last but not least, very important is the trust building aspect. It has been said throughout the whole day. It's very, very important to be able to build the trust between the government and the diaspora. And by building trust, it's not only the words, but also we have to walk our talks. But in terms of for the diaspora to have to see what's being done on the ground, basically. So the long-term project of building partnership between government and diaspora is much more likely to succeed if it has a strong foundation of good communication and mutual trust. So, because given that partnership is a two-way street, we need to make sure to show them that the things that we're doing on the ground, creating the viable opportunities on the ground for their engagement is very critical. I would have gone and gone. I would have loved to share my experience, but time is not on our side. So I'll stop at this. Maybe I'll use the panel discussion for further reflection from my end. Thank you very much, Ms. Madam Moderator. Over to you.
Thank you very much for those very important reflections and especially the key recommendations. So we'll now open the floor for about 25 minutes. Please your questions or contributions very short so that we can get as much as perspective as possible. Okay, yeah, so we'll discuss the section. So I will just take about 5 very short things.
So I kind of ask, like she said, that we keep it very short, within 2 minutes, so that we can give more people. Yes.
There are people who still have the interest of the work as an art. The formal one. The informal might even bring it to more than a billion. But we have to remember also that these 700 million that is
I think there have been a lot of sessions. We would like to keep the questions, specific to the panel. The panel was, demand-led, how to engage the diaspora. I think we should keep it because the panelists would like to answer your questions. If you ask, other questions, we will look at it.
Yeah, my question is to the guy from the PMO. I'm sorry, my name is Nasabado. You've mentioned here a number of people from the diaspora who are hired.
and not questioning their qualifications. Anyway, they are qualified. For those appointments who don't have confirmed after the change of government, the Borough administration have promised that they were going to have a big their diaspora would send their CVs and they would use it to recruit. To have a job with your qualification below, simply cannot go and service.
Another one? Right?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. My name is Gambian. Alluding to the contribution made by Pastor Pajau here as the think tank. I remember when this think tank was formed, I was involved in it. And what I advocated for, I said the first priority of the think tank was to build a kind of a database for Gambians abroad, in the diaspora. I know, we don't need suddenly engage foreign expertise in this country because in the diaspora, this is almost every subject we talk about. And, all that we need is how to harness that expertise and make sure that when there is any opening in this country, either in the government or anywhere else, all you do is just look at the database and then you get the expertise of Gambians who are available. We definitely don't need any foreign expertise. That's my view. Thank you.
Another one? Okay. All right, I'll come through. Go this way. So yeah, let's keep it short. I like the way these ones are coming. Very sharp and precise.
Thank you very much. Yes, Madam, you might want to excuse me. Probably my contribution or question has to be answered by the previous speaker. However, it has something in connection with one of the speakers that talked about job creation and so on. So, yes, the diasporans are crying, the diasporans are at the same time by contributing almost, according to the central bank, 40.65 billion balance remittance. Okay, but if you look at it, there's the 90% or 95% of the remittance are going to their own personal needs. So my suggestion or contribution would be, why not let them organize something, coordinate something that will also, part of that money should be spent to benefit education, agriculture, or health, the health sector, so that we will see the impact, the physical impact, the tangible impact of their contribution. And then they can now claim some of these rights that they're talking about, and then I'm sure they will have public support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
Good afternoon, Madam Moderator. I have a question and then you start. So my question is related to COVID-19 and also related to I am multi-learning from the University of Gambia. So my question is related to COVID-19 and with respect to the Diaspora Profile Registry. So during the advent of the COVID-19, that is during the early days of the pandemic, we've learned that countries all around the world were trying to reach out to their diaspora health professionals, soliciting their expertise with respect to how to contain the spread of the COVID-19 virus. So I wanted to ask, with the advent of the diaspora profile registry, has there been any attempt made by the PMO or government of the Gambia to solicit the expertise of the diaspora health in the spread of the COVID-19 in the Gambia? Because we had report from diaspora health professionals that they have called back home, called via the Ministry of Health to render their services to the ministry, but then efforts or attempts that were made were put out. So I wanted to confirm that.
Thank you so much. Those are university students there. I'll just go to the far end before we, yes. Okay, that's it, if you're okay.
All right. No, I was listening. Good afternoon. My name is Saravadana, student at the University of Gambia. Just a little bit call from the honorable member of parliament that anything for me without me for diaspora, any meaningful engagement that we want to have with them. First of all, we have to be an advancement for their representation and also to have them registered as well. But again, just a question to the honorable member there. The honorable minister did make an disclaimer here that for all the monies that they've submitted, for all the budget that they've submitted with regards to diaspora registrations and possibly their voting, are voted first to the National Assembly. So the question is, who actually is responsible? So I would want to ask the honorable member that whether such has reached the National Assembly. If it has reached the National Assembly, what was even approved was diaspora registration and voting part of that project. Because we've seen the debate on social media, one order said it was from the ministry, and the other said it is at the IU. Even some National Assembly members have also participated in such a debate. So I would want to.
All right, thank you. Hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Paxo. Mr. Seeing some of the questions the director for you.
The question regarding qualifications to get someone a job, especially in diaspora. It's like some of those, as you have rightly said, identified individuals to come and then head institutions or lead institutions will be at leadership position where they will change policy and give direction for efficiency in specific areas. However, because it has been indicated in the report where you have the capacity gap assessment report, where it was indicated that there should be registration of all professionals from the diaspora, where you create their profiles. This has never happened. So what we've been resorting to do is that when positions are advertised, either bring those that are aware of these advertisements would apply for these positions. This is what we have been operating on. And although also we've been putting this advertisement on our websites. So those that have access to these advertisements would apply online. These application forms apply and submitted through somebody who will submit it to the to our office at the PMO, where interview will be conducted by the Public Service Commission through WhatsApp or online telephone interviews. So this has gotten so many diasporans jobs illegally, but the job profiling has not taken off. So we are expecting the diaspora directorate at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in ensuring that we have job profiles of all professional diasporans. Once we have that, this will be a bank where there is any vacancy. The Foreign Affairs will supply us with these profiles. But you have all the qualifications, all the job skills, whatever that is required, then we'll go through it in consultation with the Public Service Commission where we will, for example, contact those individuals who are interested. So, the second one, which has to do with what was the response in terms of containing COVID-19. As I have said already, as far as we are concerned, so our task, our challenge is also still going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to get us the profiles of all professional diasporans and then forward it to us, where we will use this to help our country.
Thank you very much. Hello? Yeah, thank you very much. I think what was brought to the National Assembly was approved as far as elections are concerned. Everything that was brought to the National Assembly was approved. And then when the Election Act or the election bill was brought before the National Assembly, and then the Finance Minister sent somebody to come. And then the first question I asked was that, is that all the monies that we are supposed to, all the fundings that are supposed to be given to IEC for the election has been deposited? And what he said was, if I can fully remember on that day, even today, the last amount that was supposed to be deposited to the IEC has been done. So I think what we approved, according to them, has been done. The National Assembly did not have anything, did not do anything about it, but just to approve, to know that this was the elections, it is very, very important to the Gambians.
Would like to clarify something?
Yeah, sorry.
About the,
I want to clarify something. If I say nothing for us without us, is that you cannot do anything for me without my representation. I think it's only babies. Even babies, if you do something for them that they don't like, you know that they will respond.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much, Mr. Sebi, for your wonderful presentation. As Civil Rights mentioned, we have launched a Diaspora website, Diaspora.gm. I will use this opportunity to sort the diaspora. If you see the website, there's a data portal where they can register. And by registering, will have their profile including their skill sets. The intention is to use it for engagement. And again, we have linked our website to PMO's website, so that if there's any vacancy, any diaspora website. And there is an update city. Instead of filling the form, sending it to someone, there's a PSC email address that you can send your form to, have engagements with the Public Service Commission. So it's PSC at info.dm. See at info.dm. You can fill your application form and send it. You will be considered for shortlisting and interview subsequently. Again, I had engagement with the Director of the Civil Service Reform at the PMO regarding short-term and long-term skills transfer. So we agreed to write a concept note, because the other challenge we have now is the government is created this thing. Even with some diasporas want to come and sacrifice so the intention is to have a concept note and then pay them that much, but you don't pay them what our integrated base can offer. So that is the pipeline, and those are all geared towards attractive and
important panels. Just to thank all the presenters for the left and also for all the contribution and also for the great audience attending and all the questions that have been coming. Of course, we are impatient, but I think 5 years down the line, we can safely say that progress has been made. Go slow, but I think we are heading somewhere. And I think if we continue to work together and believe in it, I think we can get it further. Just the key milestones have been, produced. We have a strategy, which is we understand that it's going to improve. The long-awaited Diaspora Directorate and the database is getting off the ground. I think we are progressing, and that will help for more transparency, because obviously one of the major challenges that we have in this country is also personal information. And now I was very pleased to hear from Tamara that all those information will be going to the database that is, under official, One thing that also we've seen across the region, governance is progressing. I think people submit their application to different platforms. People have mentioned that there are so many skills within the country in the IT sector, and we can explore some of those avenues to ensure that all these platforms are user-friendly so that people, wherever they are, can apply. Feel free, submit the application and get the introduced one without being connected to somebody for just a regular job in the public service or elsewhere. Indeed, we have a strategy, as I said. We do have the directorate, we have all these tools. We need to strengthen those mechanisms. I think everything involves around systems. We are able to build a trustworthy system. I think it will help to develop this trust. I think everybody has been talking about trust from the morning to now. We need to build, together, but it has to be based on trust. And the way we build trust is setting up institutions that are functioning, institutions that are checked, both that are accountable to the public. And we believe that with all these reforms that you are mentioning, we will get to those. And also looking at the diaspora as another side. The diaspora also has the stats to the fact that also those people and all those people working also in the country here and we can work together. We are looking at each other, as all work together to enhance national development. One that digital framework is also important in diaspora, also to be able to use and I think we're talking about investing, bringing skills, but how about those who like to come back after retirement? There are mechanisms that we work out so that they can stay in the Gambia and their retirement. And I think all those things also are contributing. So on that note, really, I thank Jibril and this team for the perseverance, but also importantly, I don't know if you notice it, it's one of the rare engagement we have in women. For the past 5 years, I think, I was not the first one, but for the past 4 years, I noticed that the female speaker from the diaspora has been a woman. I think we need to go out. We need to really commitment. Because sometimes we say this service to equality, inclusivity, by tokenism. And I do believe that, doing this in a consistent manner, it means that, there's commitment, there's commitment to inclusivity. And I think as a country, this is what we need to do. We need to believe that we have to build this country together by embracing each other, by making sure that we are inclusive with each other, and then also we build so that women, people differently able, people from other minority all feel that this is the Gambia we want, this is the Gambia we want to build together, and the diaspora has a great place to, a great contribution to make. I think if we continue to do so, I think we will have a great nation in the long run. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, my own board chair. She was kind enough to spare us a minute, in fact. I was here timing that, but there was a splendid moderation. A round of applause for that panel once again. Thank you so much. Don't forget to Madam Efera also joining us through the link there. Thank you as well. Unfortunately, there is not enough time to very much open the conversation as some hands were still up, but we can keep this conversation going. And now we are going to go into the last session. So we're going to go for a break because we've run completely out of time. And this other session is going to last until 7. It's a 1 hour 30-minute session or so. So we'll start counting now. I'm supposed to moderate this session, but unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond my control, I'll have to hand over to Mr. James Powell. He is always somehow, we're always, moderating or just doing one of the things together during the forum. So today, again, he will gladly, I'm sure, pretty much do that well. So this particular session is on culture, identity, development, and diaspora engagement. And James Bahum is going to moderate this session. The guest speaker for this session is Mrs. Janet Bajan Young, founder and chairperson, Ibuja Theatre and Performing Arts Association. The panelists are going to be Mr. Hassan Sise, we have him here. Right, he's here, Director General, National Center for Arts and Culture. We're also going to have Mr. Joe Malik Cheng, music promoter and director of the Arab Arts. I'm sure most of you know him. Mr. Khalil Banja, arts administrator and presenter, and Honorable Abdullah Sise, National Assembly member there earlier, I'm told. We're also going to have some presentations on poetry and also from activists, Ms. Lara Toure, as well as Omar Shan. And so this is going to be a very interesting session, and because it involves arts and culture, so we're really surprised to see some of these presentations from some of our young performers as well. So I now have the honor to invite James Bahum, and of course the panelists can begin taking their seats as well. If James is set, I kindly hand over to you. Thank you so much, and this is where I take my leave. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have the singular honor to call upon again last minute to step in. My part in this State Innovation Forum number 5, State Innovation, is to moderate culture, identity, development, and diaspora engagement. And I have with me today some very important personalities in the arts, but also friends in cultural enthusiasm to share with you their perspectives, their love for the arts. I am an uninitiated lover of arts, I suppose. It is great pleasure, therefore, to be moderating this afternoon's workshop on this very important topic. As a diaspora, myself, I continue to refer to myself as a diaspora. I am acutely aware of the importance of culture in the diaspora. As transnationals who leave their countries of origin to reside, work, study, and do several other things in the diaspora. Some for very long periods of time have suffered cultural alienation. And that to bring culture to the center of diaspora engagement is a key and very important part of what MSDG project has been doing. And amongst our speakers today are people who have worked for revitalizing Gambia's cultural identity in the diaspora in order to continue the synergy, if you like, or that nexus between diaspora development and culture. We have in diaspora multi-generations of Gambians. We travel, we go to the UK, the United States, and other parts of the diaspora. We settle there. We have families there. Some that have visited the motherland, or some have not. And culture is what I think is the most important linkage for those generations of Gambians who have never visited the motherland, but who continue to yearn for a cultural identity that would tie them in a native way to the link that is their heritage. So without much ado, I will request the video and post order of yes,
on behalf of MSDG Project and Young Arts at the occasion of the 5th State in the Nation Forum on 8th January 2022, we have the privilege and honor to launch the pilot edition of the Gambian Lullabies Workbook. This resource complements the Gambian Lullabies 1-in-1 video, which was launched in January 2021. The workbook presents the transliteration, English translation, and musical score of the Gambian Lullabies video, which people can watch and download from YouTube. In 2017, the MSDG Project and Young Arts have taken particular interest in supporting the professional development of the Gambian Police Band as the country's oldest musical ensemble. We have also promoted the revival of traditional lullaby as a means of introducing the multi-generational diaspora to the culture, music, and language of the Gambia. In 2019, we commissioned the Gambian Police Band to research, develop, and record a collection of lullabies. We remember with delight that they treated us to a sample of their work at the third stage in the Nation Forum in January 2020. Subsequently, it was with great pleasure that we commissioned two traditional Gambian singers living in the diaspora, namely Amy Cherry and Kuba Kuyate, to interpret and record the Volume 1 collection of the lullabies. The engaging a cappella style is indeed the authentic genre of traditional lullabies. As a culture resource, we now have an initial collection comprising 15-minute studio recording of 8 lullabies in Mandinka and Wolof, transliterations and English translations of the 8 songs, full musical score and sheet music for the 8 lullaby songs, and 45-minute video of the classic Gambia Police Band musical repertoire. As we progress with our culture program, we shall, amongst other things, commission and record more lullabies in a diverse range of languages, commission and record more traditional and historic Gambian songs, and compile and publish further edition of Gambian musical workbooks. We invite you to enjoy and engage with the uplifting richness of traditional music, arts and culture of the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. Introduce these cultural gems to the people of the world and keep smiling.
That sets the stage for what I hope will be a very interactive today. Now, I will first of all quickly introduce the panelists for tonight. Today, our guest speaker is none other than Mrs. Gda Board, founder and chairperson of Gambian Theatre and Performing Arts Association. She will give the keynote speech today. And the panelists include Mr. Hassan Sise, Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, a very familiar face on TV dealing with issues of arts and history. Mr. Njok Malik Jeng, music promoter and director of the Arab Arts. One of the how do I introduce you? He's one of the leading promoters of Gambian culture and arts in the United Kingdom. Convener of the annual Cultural Week, Gambia Cultural Week in London, one of the most popular events with arts and music. Yeah. Mr. Kalilu Banjang is not present at all, and Honorable Ablai Sise, National Assembly member, who as well I cannot see, but also Mr. Kasamba Jao, a musical enthusiast, a supporter of Gambian culture, and somebody who has forever promoted Gambian culture, Gambian music. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our panel tonight. And first of all, I will then call at the guest speaker today, Mrs. Janet Bajan Young, of the Gambian Theatre, to give her statement.
Yeah, thank you very much. I decided to stand and speak because then I will get your attention. Because if I sat down, I wouldn't be able to breathe properly, and so you wouldn't be able to hear me well. I just wonder how many of you have ever been to the Ebunjan Theatre? How many of you? Right, okay, it's small. I had expected that more of you would have been up there to see it. I think I am the only person who has built a theater on her own in their hometown. I think Shakespeare did. But I am so much into the arts that I felt, I could not live here without having a place for young people to go there and express their feelings, their beliefs, their culture. I just felt I could not do it. I had a lot of unpleasant encounters with Alliance Franco-Gambian. It treated me like I was dead. And it was very difficult to get a place to really sit down and work with children and with youth. So I decided that I would build up a theater. And indeed, I am extremely proud. I believe I could do much better if I made the sacrifice, not only with my own funds, but there were people who were ready to assist in terms of doing the plays, freely without the cost. So this topic of culture, identity, development, and the diaspora. Sorry, I have to use my glasses. They're heavy topics, very heavy indeed. And I thought too loaded. I think we'll fall asleep if we start to talk about each one of them. But I thought what I would do is to just say to you that we are losing our culture and identity, particularly among the young. I think you will notice this. We are losing it. That wholeness that we had, the Christmas, the respect for our elders, the love that we used to share, seems to be disappearing. And most of the young I see, they are more interested in the cash, and they are not caring enough. Is to get the money, get this done, and get the money done. And so there's a cry for help, I think. And we must support and provide a substance which brings change for the better. Now, one of the instruments, I think the most effective instrument for change is the performing arts. Because you see, the whole day today, you were all talking. I'm sure some of you fellas. But if you had had a little bit of drama to portray what you are trying to say to all of us, you would have been more excited about staying and listening to it. So it is culture, music, dance, and poetry and drama. Now, I just want to tell you about my own experience with young people. I had, in fact, this fall, I think it was 18, he left school and he didn't have a job. There was a Ghanaian who lives in Gambia, not far from me. And one day he brought this boy and he said, he wants a job, he doesn't have a job. So I said, well, what can he do? He said, but he can help in the garden. I'm cutting it short. So he helped me in the garden. But I found he was listless. He had no interest whatsoever. It got so bad that I said to him, before you came, my garden was beautiful, but you are here and it looks as if everything is falling apart. What do you do whilst I'm not here? Again, to cut it short, his whole aim was to go to the back way. All he was thinking about. So that whenever I left the house to go somewhere else, he would put a mat under the trees and he would sleep. I'm cutting it short. So this went on for some time. And once he came to me and he said, I said, you meet me here in the garden at 2 o'clock. He didn't show up. He came at 5. So I said, where have you been? He said, well, I have a problem. I said, what's your problem? He says, I'm impotent. I thought, wow, to tell me that, was something else. But it so happened that 2 of my in-laws who are doctors were in the Gambia for a conference, and I asked them to examine him and look at him. All I'm saying is that it cost money to help him out, and I finally did. So in fact, I was treating him like a child, like my own son. So you can imagine when one day I went to church, came back, and my safe was open. He had gone to the house and he had stolen all the money I had in the safe. And the money, they were not mine. There were monies that I had to pay people, for example, who were repairing the theater. So I felt really let down. In fact, I could not believe that he had the courage and the audacity to take the money. And of course, he's now in Italy. God knows what has happened to him or what is happening to him. Then I had another fellow, okay, I was teaching them at the theater, and he looked very promising. He was a tailor, and I thought, great, if you're a tailor, you'll be able to make costumes. And he turned out to be quite a good actor. And one day he called me, it was a Friday afternoon, I'll never forget that, and he said, Auntie Janet, he says, I'm up country and I need $5,000. My mother is very sick. I thought, well, how? 5,000, I said. So how can I get it to you? He says, please, you know, whatever they call it, the union, Western Union will be able to help me out. So I couldn't do it on a Friday, it's great time and all that. But the next day, the Saturday, I went and I sent the money to him. And I didn't hear from him. A week later, he called me again. Auntie Janet, I'm on my way to Dakar. I thought, this is strange. What are you going to do in Dakar? No, I'll tell you later, man. This was over the Christmas. And continuously, I had this phone call, and I thought, who on earth? Janet, please help me. I need $50,000. I'm in Libya. I'm trying to go through the backward. I said, for God's sake, I cannot have $50,000 for anybody. And besides, what I have to do, your wife will not tell me what you have. That's the truth, at least I would have to do some advice. Because a long story short, after I stayed in Libya, someone, but the hardest thing of all, he drank. So, I still cannot get over it. And so it goes on. So our people need to know what to do better. Now, I've written quite a number of things. And because of this story and others, I wrote a thing about the danger of going to Diaspora. And I put the fear of God into them by showing them the skeleton of one of them who had drowned. Partial skeleton, I imagine that skeleton, and this is the Jesus right out of them. But the important thing is that I was able to get funding from the Netherlands government. And I took the play, I got the students themselves to act out the characters. And this, we went to 9 schools. You can see the involvement. There were ghost stories in the story. And I'm sure none of them there to see that they're going to back. So I think those are the sort of things that and we went to 9 schools and did this. So on marriage, that's social issues. They need children need to know what happened or what can happen to them. And all my kids, I based them on true stories. I was in Nairobi, I lived in Nairobi for 30 years, not for 20 years, for 20 years. And during that time, yes, we come and we would entertain them. I got back up some with my because but it was a joy to have Gambians and Sierra Leoneans at our table. And this lady told me about how when she was about 14 or so, she was sent off to be married to a Gambian who was in Spain. And I was horrified. It's a true story. And it's a series of events. So what happened was I'm traveling to go to England, to America. And I saw a young lady with 3 boys. The boys were ill-dressed. You could see from the coat, the jacket that they had on, that it wasn't their size, you know. But the lady chose me. She came to me and she said, please, can you tell me what door I should go to get to the airport, to get to the plane? And I thought, why did she choose me? I look Gambian. So, you know, obviously. So And then I looked at the children and I thought, this one is early marriage, exactly early marriage. And the lady turned out to be a minister of health in the Gambia. She persevered through all these hardships and became the minister of health. So these are true stories, and they are moving and they make a difference. When you hear the stories, you know we are speaking the truth, and it affects change. You will change when you see that, because it's so real. It's dynamic. You know for sure that they are not making up things, and it is true. We have also produced plays on HIV AIDS. That is the only way you can reach people. They are not going, it's not a reading public. We know that. Not many of us can read a whole book, you know, and of course, things like YouTube, they're taking over. We are more interested in that than we are on actually watching people tell you their own story, which is what we had before. So there we go. There are many plays that we have written. They are historic plays, so we know what our culture was like. What happened to our ancestors? How did they manage? What did they do? And so it goes on. So for me, this is my own mission in life, to make sure that we get information about our culture, about what people have done. For example, there's in terms of inspiration, which was about the slave trade. And it showed you that Gambians went to America, But the important thing is that they came back and made positive changes to the people of Gambia. And I think that's remarkable. Many of us don't know about that. We just know about slavery. Now, many countries have used theater. South Africa, for example, they are known for using plays. When with apartheid, they had so many plays on apartheid, and so people got to hear firsthand what it was all about. And so, what I think we have to remember is that the face-to-face communication is the best method to pass on information. If you just hear it from somebody else, it's not the same thing. If you read about it, you may believe it, but when somebody actually stands by you and narrates their experiences, you are bound to believe them. So the University of the Gambia, we should congratulate them, because they have a section, a division on theater in education, where they dissect plays about from various writers, Nigerian writers, Ghanaian writers, but I don't they have any plays from the Gambia. I think we should do something about that. But that's what they do, and often they go into schools actually to show them what it's all about. The performing arts gives you confidence. When you train children, it's amazing how many of them we train who can now hold their own, they are not shy, they are confident, they speak well, extremely well. That's it. And so I want us to encourage it and to support the arts. This is a lifelong activity. We should be devoted to them, because often they do not have the funding. Can you imagine just the transportation sometimes? I think that's it for me. I would like your support. Emudan Theatre would like your support. So do please support us that we do have functions at the theatre. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Biden Young, for that interesting recollection of some of the experiences you had with the setting up of the project. It didn't appear to me at all that the project was built by yourself, and you support. So thank you very much for bringing us that beautiful thing, but also doing the wonderful work that you continue to shine a light on us, young Gambia and the surrounding countries. Experience is invaluable. We are calling on greater support for Gambian, but also for the arts, Gambian arts and music. The more we are able to promote our own, the better and the more enlightened our arts, music. So thank you very much. And it would please you, of course, to know that we have two performing artists, poets, who will be rendering their own works to us. So thank you very much. The first on the panel is Mr. Hutchinson. Mr. Cisse, like I said, is Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture. And Mr. Cisse.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to panelists, starting with our good friend and James. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Malik. Mr. Pastor, pleasure to have you and good evening to all of you and the audience. What is the current relation between the Gambian diaspora and cultural and artistic creation, consumption, and investment? I believe that this is great unasked for in a very interesting and engaging debate on the role of the diaspora in national development. There has been a lot of work done on the issue of diaspora remittances, diaspora political participation, migration rights, and so on. The next question and added focus should be on diaspora and culture, heritage and arts for national development and youth employment. Gambian diaspora can be creators, investors, and consumers of arts and culture. And I want to spend the next few minutes to outline this piece. Diaspora Gambians are creative. Over the past few years, especially since the change of government in 2017, many books in the form of memoirs have been published by Gambians, charting, for example, their days in exile. We have in collections close over a dozen titles in this growing genre of Gambian writing. I name one of the many accomplished Gambian writers of diasporic origin, our poets, Dr. Gda Board. Now, aside from literature, the explosion in private TV and online channels has enabled diaspora Gambians to produce movies in countries like Sweden, the UK, the US, and these are broadcast across the country. Radio and YouTube programming have also multiplied from the diaspora. Now, diaspora Gambians are also consumers of arts and culture, largely because of their access to fast internet and disposable income. And just before the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, for example, we facilitated visas for what is left of the old Super Eagles band across Scandinavia to entertain Gambian diaspora, who are literally in their late 60s and have a memory of the Super Eagles. We have also encouraged younger musicians to have regular trips abroad, okay, to perform in Gambian diaspora social events in the USA, in Sweden, in the UK, and France, for example. And if you go to the bookshop in town, and they will tell you, at least usually, Gambians diaspora who are holidays, who buy a lot of the material, particularly books by local authors. Now that we know that our diaspora can create and consume arts and culture, the next and final question to ask is how can they invest time, resources, and energy in promoting Gambian arts and culture? We need investment in expertise. For example, in music recording studios, in the book publishing, in recycling, from proofreading, editing, printing, publishing, book distribution. We need, for example, schools of art, schools to teach music, film. We need to institutionalize like book fairs. These are some examples of potential areas for investment by our diaspora. Now, moreover, we also need diaspora Gambians who have skills in archaeology, anthropology, ethnography, museology, music production, theater and dance, sound engineering, lighting technology, film editing, copyright, arts marketing. We need skills in all these areas. They can organize, for example, short-term courses for our youth who are engaged in these activities to boost their capacities and to build arts and heritage entrepreneurial skills in them. I should also state finally that our UNESCO World Heritage Sites, for example, are a great heritage asset awaiting full exploitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrison. Cisse, brief statement of potential of art, how it can transform. So thank you very much. I think we will leave the question and answer until the end, when whoever has any questions or wants to make any statement, we give an opportunity with a brief statement or ask a question directed to members of the panel who will endeavor to answer your questions, take note of your comments. I am also very pleased to inform the audience that we have amongst us today two young Gambians are renowned for their penmanship, that they are poets poet activists, they call themselves, who have written great poems that reflects our current situation, but also energizes us to work as citizens, remembering and reminding us of our responsibilities and our duties as citizens. At the end of this short session, after all the panelists have spoken, we will call upon them to give a rendition of some of their works. I'm sure that a lot is better. So we are looking forward to welcoming later today, this evening, Ms. Lara Toure, but also Mr. Omar Cham, who are present with us now. We'll call upon them. We look forward to that. Next to give a presentation is Mr. Njog Malidian. He's a personal friend, but also, like I said earlier, an arts enthusiast and director of the Adam Arts, which is one of the preeminent organizations, cultural organizations, the organizer of the annual Senegambia Cultural Week that takes place in London. So I call upon Mr. Jack